Okay, continuing, killing Slomo. I had to stop and talk to the bear. Actually, he's one of the reasons that I was going to tell you why it's not easy for Hillary to get one of her assassins in here. Of course, she can't come in because she's tied to an iron lung. Very heavy, some big wheels on it. It can be mobile, but it takes about 3 people to push it. And somebody else would, somebody like Dr. Bedak or Dadak, one of those doctors who are at her bedside at the iron lung 24/7. They would probably have to be right beside it in case she fell out of the iron lung, because she would have to roll along a little tiny bed to keep her legs up, because the iron lung itself, when they designed it, they didn't make didn't extend out very far, so the legs kind of dangling like you're sitting, but you're actually, the last part of your body is lying down on your back. So you can imagine if she was being pushed without a wheelchair in this position, many of her fans would probably come out and want to cheer her along. So I doubt she'll be coming out here to actually face Slomo himself. So she sent these 4 assassins, which I just had to remind the bear that they were free to torture, actually torture and waterboard any one of these assassins if they catch them. There's none of this Geneva stuff when it comes to somebody trying to assassinate our leaders. We torture, we do everything else. You might, I don't know, Hillary, where she comes from, she might come from a distant planet where people didn't take revenge on their enemies, but with torture. But I'm personally from Neptune, and we used to, if it was bad enough, we used to cause a little extra pain. But anyway, that's the history of Neptune. Now back to the real issue at hand here. Why is it difficult for Hillary to get one of these pathetic assassins, or why can't they get in here and kill Slomo and be done with it? I mean, it's not, why should it be so difficult, even if he's trained these people? Well, I'm going to show you. That's what this little chapter is all about. Yes, okay. You see that that fella and the girl, the lady, they yelled at just the precise moment that they would have assassinated anybody running at Slomo. Yes, at any time there are several sharpshooters that are covering a perimeter right around Slomo. So if somebody tries to get to him with a knife, which sometimes they hire these. Now, one thing Hillary hadn't heard about is a very special training that I've given these people, how to defend me. I learned it from the Askari. Hillary doesn't even know how to spell a word like Askari. This is an Arabic word. And all you Arabic listeners out there appreciate that I have a great deal of respect for the Askari. And your black brothers, you already know I got a lot of respect, even though the Askari are my favorites. They are black, as you know, and they did fight in World War I. And some of the leftovers fought in World War II, believe it or not. Now, you guys that have had a false history of World War II, you haven't the foggiest idea what really happened. You've been propagandized by CNN's predecessors, okay? Don't believe anything you've heard about anything. That's my personal recommendation. Now, let's get back why it would be very difficult for Hillary to get from her iron lung there in, I think it's in New York. They might have moved it to Washington. She's got that thing and it moves it all over the place. Kind of like one of these big ICBMs moves down the highway. Because the iron lung has to be situated sideways, so it takes 2 lanes. It's just something about the, it's a magnetic kind of, it's one of those things, you know, where it has to be horizontal to the axis of the earth. A certain axis of longitude or something like that, otherwise it'll spin off. And she might, if she were inside at that time and not riding inside the truck, the bed of the truck, maybe with the driver, just taking a few minutes to stretch her legs and sit up straight like in a chair, instead of lying back on her back with her legs straight down like a chair. I mean, it's very uncomfortable. I don't know why they designed it that way, but just to sit in the bed of the truck with a good old truck driver for 2 or 3 minutes before you get to the truck stop and then get back in the iron lung, that would nothing be wrong. That would be quite satisfactory. And if Slomo was in charge of it, though she would be coming to kill him, if it would make her trip easier. I think Slomo would probably.
Hey, Slomo! How you doing, brother? Love you, man.
Thank you, doggy. I ain't quite got to Trump's level. He learned to say I love you back. You know, I'm fond. I'm fond of you back. Like that. But anyway, she's probably not going to come all the way across the country in an iron lung. I just can't imagine it. But she does have, she's got a certain kind of, it's not stamina. I think I agree with Trump that it's not what I would call stamina. It's determination and and she, you know, she's worse than Rasputin. Anyway, reminds me of a guy that tried to eat his favorite pig. You know, he'd eat one leg at a time. He just couldn't eat the whole pig at once. But anyway, I don't know why I thought of that. It probably has something to do with Trump, you know, calling those poor women fat when they were such, they were children of God, after all. And he called them fat. That shows no disrespect. He said probably spend an eternity in hell for that. But first, let's get some president activity out of him before you idiots consign him to hell for saying a dirty word. Anyway, I'll show you why it's very difficult. You see that guy just jogging along with his shoes? I was going to tell you about that skateboard back there. That skateboard has a very, very advanced missile on it. Yeah. That missile can be fired by doing a kickflip. And when it's turned over, this guy's been practicing a long time how to do it. The missile, as it turns, it goes into slow motion kind of, if you imagine it that way. The missile actually is on the top of the skateboard while his feet are up in the air jumping. And of course, that's when, by remote control, he squeezes the button, the little control he's holding in his hand. And assuming that everything goes right and it's timed correctly, this rocket will take off toward its target. First off, it flies up, and then it kind of locates the target, and then flies straight at it. Wait. Of course, it has to be done. He's been practicing a lot, and I think he's pretty ready. Pretty much thinks he's ready to really try it in real life. So he's out here. If something would happen, he would jump and flip the skate and fire that thing toward Slomo, or toward the assailant that would be approaching Slomo at that time. And Slomo, it would be up to Slomo to dodge under it. I've been in, it's a good question. I don't know where I've been. I think I've been here. I think I'm always here. Has anybody out there ever been somewhere that wasn't here? All right, now let me see. This missile would come at Slomo, but Slomo would, in all likelihood, would spot this foreign object flying at him at a very high speed, particularly after it went up and then located the assailant coming at Slomo at a very rapid speed. Say one of these jihadi desert types would come at Slomo with one of those big blades, and Slomo's like doing right in the middle of doing a good turn, you know, with his right leg, which is his strong leg. Maybe he'd be on one foot doing a little bit of a turn. There'd be a couple of tourists over there going, "Hey, look at that Slomo," like that. This guy would be running at Slomo with this very large blade, which he would hold in his right hand, though it would be almost too heavy because the blade would probably be about 16 inches. Anyway, he was determined not only to stab Slomo with the blade, but to cut as many of Slomo's appendages off as possible before someone called 911. And then, of course, he would run off, and maybe the FBI would work it into some sort of new false flag right on the spot, you know, really inventive, like they were. Maybe the FBI guys would just happen to be in San Diego to talk to some FBI guys about how to keep Hillary from losing the election, you know, how to fix it and keep everybody happy in the Middle East, you know, both sides. And they just happened to say, well, let's go down to the boardwalk and see this guy they call Slomo. And they said, okay, we've got nothing better to do before we fly back to Washington to start our mischief. Except they don't call it mischief. They say, again, Operation Skin Slomo. That's what they're going to change the name to. Skin Slomo. SS. Like, you know, they think that's funny to put SS. It's kind of like the reverse of the Freemasons. They don't put 6 in there, but SS somewhere. Okay, so they're playing with the minds of all these people. But still, they would come down here, and here I would be skating. And somebody would run at me with a knife. And these guys would say, gee, they would see this guy jump, do a flip on his skateboard and shoot this rocket and kill the person right before he stabbed me. And they'd say, hell, Hillary's up against it. Who knows anything quite like that? We should get one of those for Obama if he was going to be in the presidency very long. And one of them said, well, he might be, you know, he might not leave. I remember that I heard some things on that. A lot of people say that it's like Christmas, it just won't come. You know, it gets, the time has been stretched and stretched and stretched and stretched and stretched, and it's almost like some of the internet think that, hey doggy, good to see you boys. See?
Hey, Slomo guy.
I'll be back, dog. No, I'll be back. Well, that might be the last of this anyway. I'll give you some more examples.
I may not be here when you get back.
Well, whatever you do, make sure you vote for Trump.
I'll do Trump.
It's like Trump said, what do you got to lose, okay? Like when I look at a guy like that and I say vote for Trump, he might say, oh, fuck you, you know, but I think anybody that says fuck you when you say vote Trump, they're an enemy, okay? Hey doggy, I mean, that's you want to know who that person is and not be nice to them. Actually, I'm trying to be nice to everybody. Yes, most of these people don't really keep up with it well enough to know what they're being duped. They're playing into the hands of you know who. It starts with an H. She's the patsy, the new patsy. Can a woman be a patsy as good as a man? These old boys are good. See, if I was in charge of this place, we wouldn't have any problem in the street. We really wouldn't. All of that has to be stirred up. Money is being put into that, which, by the way, that's treasonous. Paul Ryan, you know what you are is a little piece of Kleenex. You shouldn't be in politics, dude. You're not doing your job. Hey, doggy. None of you guys are doing your job, unless there's some explanation that none of us have know about. If there are people from outer space that have you under, have kidnapped you or something like that, or your families are going to be killed or poisoned, whatever, then I'm sorry, but short of something like that, you guys are about as wicked as, matter of fact, I know somebody that knows all about the history of Italy, the Borgia and all that. And there was an extraordinarily wicked woman who's famous that came out of that Borgia family. But when I gave this historian the details of what we're dealing with here, she said there was absolutely no comparison, that Hillary would be able to go down pretty much as the most wicked person in the world. That is on the female side. And they say Hitler has been sitting down there by himself. Eva Braun decided to go on to heaven, that she wasn't really totally involved with the whole thing. It was an act of love, you see. So she got excused, and she writes a letter here and there in German, old-fashioned German. It's very difficult to read. That's the reason that she does it, so the gods can't read it. That's a good-looking man right there, the blue man. He doesn't need $2 today. He can live with that. It's like all of us can. All right. Good night to Miss Alice, who is the most intelligent woman I know. And that includes Brenda. No, I better not say that. She might watch this tape.